Grace and peace, y'all. I hope you're feeling blessed this beautiful day. It is now sunny, and yet it feels good. I love fall. It is what it is. Yeah. Alright, so what got me started with making this video this morning was my little one. I was dropping her off at school, and one of her friends came up to say hi. As she approached her, little girl went in for a hug, and my daughter put up her hand kindly and said, "No, honey, I don't hug." And her friend understood, and they just went on their way and went inside the building. And I definitely will tell you it was a proud mama moment, because I was like, look at my baby learning and applying these life lessons. Now, that got me thinking, how many of y'all don't know about your spiritual agreements, which are just the energetic agreements you make through your contact with others? We have been shown to be very loose about our contact, even from childhood. I know many of us remember being that little kid who didn't want to say hi to the person in the church or the person at the school, and your parents saying, "Go say hi, go get him a hug." Pretty much teaching you to go against your own intuition and your own discernment. Those things breed into just becoming an adult who's very people pleasing. But even worse, creating bonds and agreements with people around you that lock you into soul ties that you never even intended. So we're going to get into this video. I'm going to tell you the 3 main ways that you lock yourself into an agreement, how to go about correcting that, and pretty much what you're doing when you do it. Alright, let's get into this video. I'm going to start off with my intro. Welcome to Wisdom Became Her, that good old safe space, where we go ahead and unpack our trauma so we can walk in the grace that God so lovingly gives us. If you are new here, welcome in. I'm glad you found a little corner of healing. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. Why? Because if God has guided you here, He has guided you home. If you are returning, hey, so family, welcome back. Go ahead and like the video, and of course, share with somebody who you know needs it. Now let's get into this healing. Now, when it comes to spiritual agreements, the first thing you have to make a note of is the fact that every time you come in contact with another soul, that's already a spiritual contract. We are here to learn through interactions with others and through experiences. You can't experience the world without seeing it from different vantage points, different perspectives. So anytime you come in contact with another soul, there's definitely a reason. There's something you're supposed to learn. There's soul fragments you need to gather from that person. So always, it's a yes. It is what it is. It's a yes. Now, how you go about interacting with that person can make or break your spiritual agreement, because it can affect you energetically. So we're going to go into the 3 types. The very first way that you can bind yourself in a spiritual agreement is through shaking hands. What? Yes. Now, back in the day, they started with handshaking, and it actually originally was handshaking in this form, where you would grab forearm to forearm. If you look at what that looks like, it's like a handcuff, because that's technically what you're doing when you shake someone's hand. You are energetically cuffing yourself to them. It is a signature in the spiritual world. Now, what happens when you do that to the wrong people? You are devoting your loyalty to that person. You are saying that you now are bound and held to, especially your word, if there was a conversation had. Now, one thing I'm going to show you is, notice how back in the day, they did not shake hands upon meeting the person. They shook hands after the agreement was done between the 2 parties. There's a reason for that. That's how it's supposed to be done. But the worst part about it is you're not supposed to just agree with anyone. So when you shake hands and you now bound yourself to that person, bound in loyalty, bound in spirit, that person now has a tie to you. You may not have even attended. So notice that when we go into businesses, that's one of the things that we do. We shake hands, and it's an easy way to tie yourself to someone, to an agreement, to even a situation that you didn't intend to lock yourself into. So be very mindful of who you're shaking hands with. Your right hand is the agreement of a soul tie. Keep it to yourself. Now, the second way that you form that spiritual agreement was the one I was talking about with my daughter, hugging. Where it may seem like hugging is so innocent, we're taught to hug when we're in kindergarten. You're taught hugging is just normal. That's the precursor to the handshake, right? It is a very strong form of soul agreement. Because when you hug, you go heart to heart, right? When you are heart to heart with a person, you are now saying that you agree that this person is tied to you in the heart space, which is the deepest way to do so. So it's a lot harder to separate yourself from a heart space agreement. If I had to equate it, I would say it's like Velcro. So where handshakes are like handcuffs, hugs are more so like Velcro. Or stickers. I like stickers better. When you put a sticker on a solid object and then you go ahead and try to peel it off, it tends to be a little bit more difficult to get rid of it. It also will leave residue. So you are taking on some of that person's energy. It is a form of an energetic agreement as well. So you are now agreeing to be tied to this person. You're saying that this person is someone who is in your life. So in a sense, you are agreeing to dabble in their energy. You also are taking some of their qualities. So this is the main reason why you really want to be mindful of this, because as you share in each other's qualities, you'll notice that some of the things you do aren't necessarily you. Some of the things you say aren't necessarily you. Give you an example. 2 weeks ago, I did have this conversation with my little one where she had hugged a friend she hadn't seen in a very long time. And then we had a conversation about, I don't remember fully, but she was stating how she felt about something. And I told her what she was saying, what it really meant. And she said, well, no, that's not what I mean. I mean it this way. And I said, yeah, but what you're saying means this. And she said, well, that's just what people say. So I had to get her to understand that it wasn't that she meant something different. It was that she adopted language from someone else to explain something she was trying to explain. So instead of her explaining it from her own mind, her own heart, her own being, she was explaining it from somebody else's vantage point. So when it was fully explained, now she's understanding how you easily steal energy from each other when you're around somebody, when you hug somebody, when you make contact with people. And you in turn start to take on some of the qualities of that person. And that is simply through a hug. So the power of that can do a lot of damage if it's misplaced. Now the last one I'm going to touch on is sexual connections. This is the biggest form of spiritual agreements, because fornication ties you into a person in a way that no one expects and no one takes seriously, and it needs to really become something that's a theme in your life. When you have intercourse with a person, that agreement, I would say, is more like blending energies. You guys have now decided that your energies, they go together. They go together real bad, to the point that you not only are taking their qualities, but you're wearing their energy like a cloak and they're wearing yours, which means anything that they agree to, you are agreeing to. Not to mention all the agreements they make outside of you, you technically are being made or forced into as well, and vice versa. These are the most dangerous agreements. So you got to be really mindful of who you're getting into these bonds with, to be honest. Now, with all that said, I hope you can see just how dangerous fornication is without any care in the world. Now, As a feminine energy, I will tell you this is probably one of the most important things you need to know, because our sacral energy is the driving force for everything that you do. If you are trying to start something up, get something going, you trying to get yourself on track, but you out here giving out your sacral energy as if you ain't got a care in the world, honey child girl, this is the reason why things are not moving for you. It takes for you to store up that energy, for you to drive the force for yourself. When you are fornicating with not only one man, but many men, you are emptying your own energetic tank. Your creativity can't flow for you because you've given it away so it can flow for them. This is also one of the reasons why you'll see some of the most successful men, and I'll call it successful, I'm using this word very loosely when I say it. Successful men tend to have a lot of creative women around them that they're fornicating with, and it's because they are siphoning energy. When you start looking at things with the spiritual eyes and no longer with the worldly eyes, you start making sense of the things that don't make sense. A man is not non-committal because he doesn't want to just be with one person. He's mastered how to get his energetic fix off of many. So keep that in mind. Don't allow yourself to be an option. Allow yourself to be the option. And make sure that you're the option for the right one. So now that we've touched on all of these areas of which we need to clean ourselves up so we are energetically protected, let's go into what we need to do in order to protect ourselves. Now, we live in a world where you feel forced to give out handshakes. When you are close with a person, they make it seem like hugging is a thing that is just so beautiful. You have to adopt your own ways of doing things and be okay and unapologetic with how you choose to go about it. For instance, I no longer shake hands. I just do not. And I state that I don't shake hands. Now, if it is deemed disrespectful to the person, of course I'm going to say, I apologize that you're offended. But I also have adopted my own ways of greeting. So I will greet heart to heart. I will greet with a nod. But I will not greet with my hand. I do not like to be touched anymore in my life. And it's because I do understand the power of that. Remember, you can't see your energetic field. You can't see your aura. You don't see it become tainted the moment it does. So be very mindful of that. All of you is sacred. Not just parts of you. Every single aspect of you. We know some people who have very high superstition about hair. Making sure you do not allow people to touch your hair. Your hair is sacred. It is a part of you. It holds DNA code. You should treat it as such. And if your hair is going to be treated as such, then you should treat your eyes the same way. You should treat your fingertips the same way, your fingernails, everything. Every part of you is sacred because it is a part of God. And it is a part of your divinity. So, you're going to walk around like it is. As far as hugs, I really only hug my children and people who I have vetted and they have deep closeness to me. But mainly I reserve hugs for my children. And for me, a hug is something that you give for healing. So being that my children have to have contact with others and regularly need healing, I reserve my energy to be able to do that, to provide that for them. So don't hug. I definitely would say keep your hugs to yourself. Find another way to greet those you love. I will sometimes do the bump the bump if I need to. Fist bumps, that works. And usually not with my right hand, it will be with my left. Like I said, if you are vetted enough to get hugs, then you do. If you're not, then you are also on handshake mode, which means you're not getting a handshake. We will. How you doing? Lastly, fornication. Stop doing it. Really though, stop doing it. Keep that energy for yourself. I will tell you that once I hit celibacy, I started to see life change for me. It was because I realized just how far thin my energy was every time that I was supporting someone within my own energy. Anytime I've pulled my energy back, I used it for myself, I've seen magic happen. And I don't use that word loosely either, magic. So, keep your energy to yourself. Your sacral energy is sacred. That's why it's called sacral. Keep it to yourself. It is the driving force for all of your dreams, your goals, your ambitions. That energy is what's going to get you there. And it is okay to say no. No is a complete sentence. And anyone who makes you feel as if your boundaries are offensive, you might need to decide whether or not that person needs to be in close proximity of you. Because boundaries should be respected and they should be honored. You having boundaries should make somebody feel like you have value. Not as if you are trying to keep them out. Because if they feel like you're trying to keep them out, maybe you should be. Alright, feel free to drop a comment. I like, subscribe, do the thing. Share it, do all those things. Let me know how you feel about this video. Let me know what's your way of greeting people if you're not using these three. Well, you shouldn't be greeting people with fornication, but yeah. Let me know how you're greeting people. I want to know how. I'm pretty much a bower. I'm pretty much a hi, nice to meet you. I've also been an elbow toucher, but now it's just don't touch me. It's just don't touch me. So I have my own greetings. So tell me how you greeting. Yeah, I'd love to hear your comments. I do reply to comments, so put a comment down. Alright. Thank you so much for watching. Alright, I'll see y'all in the next one. Love and light y'all. And peace.